It's those spending cuts that have got London and Westminster at loggerheads. Sorry, Holyrood and Westminster at loggerheads. The SNP say it's more public spending that's needed, not less. Well, let's go to our political editor, Brian Taylor. Brian, a big fight brewing then between Holyrood and Westminster?
You bet, Jackie. A very, very big fight indeed. Fighting talk today from the SNP and Scottish ministers. They say today's budget proves there are £500 million of cuts coming next year and worse to come. But over in the red corner here, different tactics, different ring tactics from the Labour ministers. Instead of ducking and diving, as they perhaps have been doing for the last few weeks, they counter-attack. They say the economies are nothing like as bad as the SNP is claiming. They say that everyone is having to make savings. The Scottish government are no different. Deal with it.
Best foot forward. Culture Minister Mike Russell hands out £100,000 to help Scottish ballet tour China. In government terms, pennies. But Scotland's Finance Secretary will have to perform some nifty arabesque of his own to keep those pennies in balance.
The Chancellor's delivered a bad budget for Scotland, which brings in £500 million of cuts in the next financial year, which will put a threat on 9,000 jobs and undermine our economic recovery. But of course, it's only the start of a whole series of cuts in public spending that the Chancellor has set out today and which he intends to inflict upon Scotland for a number of years to come.
But UK ministers say Scotland has gained from billions to bail out the banks and from Treasury action such as the cut in VAT. It's only right that Scotland feels part of the pain.
Government has to make savings. Every family is making savings. Every business in Scotland is making savings, and government should be no different. And I think that the UK government and the Scottish government has to behave like a Scottish family. Sensible, careful savings that don't affect public services is what we in the business are trying to ensure.
Pressure, pressure. Environmental campaigners lobby Holyrood this afternoon, urging action on climate change. Worthy cause acknowledged in the budget. But right now, all campaigners may find it's tougher to push an issue if there's a price tag attached.
Brian, I suspect the thing we want to know is this real disagreement, or is it just some sort of posturing by Holyrood? And if in fact they are very annoyed at this, is there anything they can do to fight back?
I don't think there's too much they can do. This is a Treasury edict. Jackie, these are real figures, real substance confirmed, not just by ministers in the Scottish Government, but also by officials. But then you have the counterblast, you have the counterattack from the UK Government who say it isn't just Scotland, it isn't just Great Britain, it's the whole of the world that is having to make these sort of savings. In the middle of all this fight, in the middle of all this battle, Jackie, you and me, the public, worried about jobs, worried about spending cuts. You know something, for politicians and the public generally, these things could come in handy in the next few weeks and months.
They certainly will, Brian. Well, to that end, whatever the outcome of the wrangling between Holyrood and Westminster, one thing is certain, as Brian was alluding through, with the general election just over a year away at most, the campaign started in earnest today. Well, let's go to David Porter at the House of Commons. So, David, how is this budget, how's it gone down as an opening salvo of a campaign?
Well, Jackie, it was interesting. MPs had been briefed that the